Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, From Trends to Trust, Building a Rock-Solid Brand. As we continue Kitchen and Bath Month for October, we want to thank Mila for generously sponsoring this month's Design and Business webinar series. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Deborah Scarpa, owner, and Ashley Blasing, operations manager and integrator of Home Designer Marketing. Deborah and Ashley, please take it away.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate having everybody join us today. Today's webinar is From Trends to Trust, Building a Rock Solid Brand. We're going to be going over a lot of content, and I'm super excited you guys are here with us today. So just to go over some housekeeping, if you have any questions during the presentation, type them into the Q&A box and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation during the Q&A. Ashley will also be monitoring the chat and answering some questions as we go along. Before we jump in, I want you to rate yourself in chat 1 to 10. How would you rate your current brand strength? How do you feel about it? Write that in chat. And then I also want you to write in chat, what is your biggest branding challenge? What are you struggling with? What do you think you should be implementing? What's holding you back? If you haven't met us yet, I'm Deborah Scarpa, and I have with me here Ashley Blazing. We are from Home Designer Marketing. We are full service marketing agency for interior designers. We specialize in branding, marketing services, systems and processes, and even like implementing AI strategies. So before we get started, we just wanted to offer you our free brand website SEO audit. You can go to homedesignermarketing.com/NKBA. You can also scan the QR code. We spend about 45 minutes with you going over what's working, what's not working, giving you clarity so you know what needs to change in order to get the results, make more revenue, get those ideal clients, get those dream projects. That's what we're here for, to help you get that. So today's learning objectives, I know we have a lot to go over. One, understand how strong branding boosts customer loyalty and profits, and recognize the risks of a weak brand, like not taking action and having a weak brand will definitely impact the results you're getting. Learn to identify key traits of successful brands. Learn to craft brand stories that align with your values and connect emotionally with your audience to make your brand more memorable. Emotional connection is so important. Discover the importance of brand consistency across all touch points and get practical tips for creating a cohesive, trustworthy brand experience. I know that's a lot, but we're going to help you understand it. Okay. So let's start off with how strong branding boosts customer loyalty and profits. So I want you to really think about branding as being more than just your logo. A lot of times the people just think of their logo. No, it's so much more than that. It's your story, your style, your work, your values, and your messaging. Like, it is so much more. We're going to do a deep dive in so you'll really understand what it includes. It's the gut feeling someone gets every time they interact with your business. It's that emotional gut feeling. Successful companies build trust by showing up with a consistent professional brand, right? It's about being consistent. It's about having that brand like look professional, gorgeous. So here are some key traits of brand experiences. So branding, like I said, is not just your logo. It's actually experiences and assets. So let's dive into understanding that. Experiences might be messaging. If you're on time, how easy is it to work with you? What you're wearing, like, you know, do you live in, is everything about you, every touch point, are they feeling confident? Are they feeling like you're the designer that's going to help them get the results they want? Content, how responsive you are, right? If you're not responding during the sales process, they're going to be worried about you responding when they're working with you, right? Website functionality, are things broken? Is your office organized or is it unorganized? Consistency, if you follow through. Client onboarding experience, how you communicate, right? All these things matter. They're all part of your brand. And then some key traits of brand assets: your logo, your website, social media profiles, Google business profile, Google reviews, business cards, sales presentations, proposal, invoices. Do you see how it's every single time they interact with your company, no matter where it is, when it is? So think about, weak brands don't build trust, right? Lost revenue, you know, competing on price instead of value, right? If your brand isn't communicating high value, they're not going to want to, pay you that like high value make that high value investment. Forgotten fast. Prospects can't remember your name when they're ready to hire, right? Because you're not staying in front of them consistently with that professional brand. Wrong fit clients, attracting bargain hunters instead of dream clients who value your experience. I tell you a short story. One of our clients, who we did a new website with, is working with us consistently. We met him up at KBIS, and he was like, oh my gosh, my clients are better, my projects are better. He has a waiting list. He was like, oh my gosh, like everything is better. That is what happens when you have a brand that's building trust and communicating your value, starting from zero. If your every lead is coming in and they need a ton of education, they're not understanding what you deliver, that's a problem. Like, that's because you're not communicating it. Referral drought, right? Where satisfied customers you've worked with that love you are struggling to describe what makes you different when recommending you. And then let's look at strong brands that build trust. So, premium pricing. Charge more because leads perceive your higher value. Perceive. How do they feel about you? How do they perceive you? Faster sales cycle. Attract leads who are ready to buy, right? They trust you more, so they're more confident in moving forward. Top of mind, when someone needs a designer, your name comes up first, right? I love them, like everything about them. Trust before first contact. Clients feel confident before they even meet you. I know so many of you are amazing when you actually get to meet somebody and, have a conversation with them. But these days, your ideal clients are looking online. Everybody is looking online. You need to build that confidence and have that strong brand before you might not get a conversation with them, right? You might lose that, even if it's a referral. You want to prove that you're an authority. Content that converts. Ideal clients experience a unified voice that communicates your value and resonates with them. So I want you to really, this is so important. Like, if the one thing you take away from today's webinar, I just want you to really think about: the brain uses emotions to quickly evaluate options and guide behavior, right? That was a study that was done by a very well-known neuroscientist, right? The emotions are what drives people to make decisions. Think about like when you're thinking about what to have for lunch, right? It's an emotional feeling. That's how people make decisions. That was a study done by him, and it's really well-known study talking about how people like emotion and actions are connected, right? So I want you to see, like, this is a logo we did before. This is her after. I'm going to have Ashley jump in and tell you a story about her.
Yeah, so KML came to us here with the logo on the right. The initial goal was to update that logo, make it more modern. You can assume by looking at the logo on the right side that she's a more modern designer, right? So we're looking to clean it up. And we went into strategy, and she was with the team in strategy and also myself, and she was saying how much she loved working with men and attorneys, finance guys, and I was like, hold on, that is that flower logo is not going to work for you. So we needed to go a different direction. But had we not learned that from her in the branding direction that she was trying to go, we wouldn't have ended on the logo that we did.
Yes. And here with her before, right? And here's her after,
Yes.
right? So the logo, the colors, the fonts, the layout, even the like photos we selected, all like, it was designed to attract her ideal client, which are really high end, like men in the Las Vegas, Nevada area that are doing really high end projects, right? That is her ideal client,
And I
right?
think the biggest thing there, if you flip back just 1 second on the website before versus this one, somebody is going to value the designer on that after website much more than the one that you're looking at right now. So that's that value, that perceived value that we're talking about.
Yes. So if I was her ideal client, I came to this website versus this one, right? If I came to this one, I would think she, takes on smaller projects. I would think that she doesn't charge as much, right? I would say that she doesn't take on the bigger projects. Obviously, the photos definitely are communicating those bigger projects. But on some websites, like if you're looking online, they might not ever get to the photos. They might just get to the homepage and close it, right? And then here on this website, it's communicating like larger projects, bigger investment, just a whole different like feel. That is the perceived value. And that is when somebody makes that emotional connection and, they trust this company so much more than this one for a large project. They're also will assume this company is going to be charging more than this company. Same work, same team, and everything, but it's a perceived value. Here's another one. Here's her before, here's her after. So it's even the design of the logo. I want you to think about the high-end luxury type of clients or anybody. When you're selling design, like think of, you know, a logo for a resort or a high-end restaurant or high-end brands. Like you want to come across as, you know, like that high-end designer. And even if you are, let's say your clients are not those high-end, like ideal clients, maybe it's families, same thing. They're hiring you to design a beautiful space for them, right? They're expecting you to, even if it's family friendly, they need to trust that you understand design, right? Here's one before, here's another one, and here's her after, and I'll let Ashley tell a story about her.
Yeah, so kind of more in the vein that you were just talking about for this client here. She is definitely not in Las Vegas, right? As you can probably tell immediately, which is a good thing, right? She's doing these kind of family, warm spaces. And you can see as well with a difference in the photography. So again, Deborah, if you wouldn't mind flipping back to the previous slide, albeit a beautiful picture on the left side on the home page, it's showing the cabinetry and all of that tile work and all of that back there. It's pretty, right? And we get the materials over on the right side, no picture in the middle when we're talking about the design. Now let's go back to the after. And if we're going towards working with families, we're seeing areas that families can use, right? The kitchen, the dining area that you see in that middle one right there, usable spaces for her ideal client, things that are that they will see and build that story in their head and build that emotion inside of them and go, oh my gosh, I would love to have that, you know, dining space there for my upcoming Thanksgiving. You know, obviously not at this point, it's a little too close, but you know what I mean. So giving that emotional connection in and throughout your branding. And you can see here the difference in color, right? We have much more masculine colors on the website before, where this one is much more neutral. It goes with her work. It goes with her brand. She's a more organic, natural, neutral designer.
Great. Thank you so much. So I want you to take a moment and rate from 1 to 10 in chat. Is your website communicating the true value of your services? I want you to think about what you deliver and what your website is communicating. I want them to match. So, all right. Are they matching what you deliver? That's super important. I'm getting a lot of comments in there. Thank you. Okay, 2, crafting your brand story. So really, we're going to help you understand how to make that happen. Harvard Business School professor found that 95% of purchasing decisions take place in the subconscious mind, right? They are emotional. Think about every decision that you make all day. I want you to walk around today and think about all the decisions you make and think about, are they emotional? Really try to deep dive into that. It's subconscious. You might even not realize that that's happening. Some key elements of your brand story, right? Branding, logo, website, copywriting, social media, email marketing, sales conversations, videos, print material, all of it. Elements, key elements of telling your brand story. So connecting emotionally with your ideal client, right? If your website's content is saying cabinets, countertops, fixtures, appliances, right? They're going to be judging, perceiving your company as you're not offering high value, right? They're not going to understand everything that you're delivering. And I want to use this example, when I go to somebody's website, and let's say they're trying to sell a huge kitchen project, which we know is a big investment. And then they have on their website kitchen remodels and maybe a few other words, and that's it. How are you expecting somebody to invest to do that full project when you're not even communicating what you're delivering, right? And the end result that they're going to get? Why should they buy from you, from somebody else? So your clients are buying, Ashley, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, so think again, we were talking about that end result. They're buying what we were talking about a moment ago, those beautiful Thanksgiving dinners they're going to have at that in the new dining room or kitchen or whatever it may be, right? They're buying how they're going to feel every morning in that new spa-like bathroom, right? So they're buying those emotional feelings that they're looking for in that end result. They're not buying cabinets, right? They're buying the function behind them that's going to make their everyday easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Making your story memorable. So your personal story, why, I want you to think about how you're communicating what you do. So why you become a designer, your why, clients' transformation stories, not just before and after photos, but like an emotional journey. Tell a story, your process story, the unique way you approach projects. I know we have people come through strategy all the time and they're talking about what they do, and our team is like, oh my gosh, you're doing that? Nobody else is doing that. And they didn't even know that, right? Challenge story. So times you've solved like impossible problems. Tell that story. Value, give examples of your principles in action. So people will forget what you said, forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel, right? And I know we've talked about emotions multiple times, but it is so important. So write in chat, what is something unique about your brand story that you can integrate into your website and into your marketing, right? What is something? And then here, I just want to point out like here's an example of an about page bio. And I would say that out of all the, interior designers and people in this industry that I review, they tell their about bio page probably the best out of all the pages, but I just want you to walk through this and understand that if you build up an emotional reason why you start doing what you do, it's going to make more of a connection. And then here for an example of a social media post. A lot of times when we go to Instagram and look at posts, they might have kitchen remodel. They're not telling the full story, right? Here's an example of, a more engaging story. And it's story with an emotional connection is what I want you to think about. And even here, we showed you this website before, but like her website homepage, it's like the colors, the fonts, the logo, the messaging, tailored luxury living, Las Vegas, Nevada, and beyond, right? And a beautiful photo of her work. If I came to this website and it said, I've been in business for this many years and blah, 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 information about your business, I want you to think you're not building that emotional connection with them. Think about a sales conversation. You would never start off the sales conversation with how long you've been in business or information about you. You would start off that conversation talking about, what type of project they're interested in doing and, what problems they're trying to solve. That is what I want you to really think about. You want to add something, Ashley?
I think the only other thing I'd add here is the choice of photo. It is the most difficult photo to choose on a website, is the one on the homepage. It needs to tell the story. It needs to feel like somebody can go walk in this room, sit on the sofa, go over to that dining table, whatever it may be. It needs to tell that story and connect and make someone go. By someone, I mean your ideal client, right? So again, this all ties back into your branding, your ideal client. Make them go, I want that. I have to work with them. They've done it before, right? You're building that trust.
Yeah, absolutely. And for some reason, Ashley, your mic isn't coming through very well. So,
I think it's okay. Brian said it's okay.
okay. All right. Just making sure everyone can hear you. So, rate from 1 to 10 in chat. How well is your brand connecting with your ideal client emotionally? So, write in chat, how well is it connecting emotionally? All right. 3, the importance of a consistent brand, right? If you're just sitting there and you have a beautiful website and you're not being consistent getting out there, right? I want you to think of your marketing as two parts. One, having that brand looking gorgeous, telling your story, and then consistently driving traffic, right? If you just build a website and expect people to come, it's not going to happen. It's too competitive online. Trust is built over time through repetition. Stay top of mind. It takes 5 to 7 impressions to remember a brand. Clients who can communicate your brand story will refer you. They'll remember you, right? I really want you to think about this middle one. Stay top. It takes 5 to 7 times, right? I'm always asking Ashley, where are those clients' leads coming from? And it's always a list. It is never like, maybe they got an email, maybe they went on their website, maybe they, maybe it was SEO, maybe it was email marketing, maybe it was social media. It's usually, maybe it's Google reviews. It's always a combination.
Yes, and it's going to be, and I want to make clear as well, one of those interactions with your brand could be indirect, meaning it could be somebody talking about your brand, right? And now this comes back to the importance of your brand being consistent. So that conversation, when it's happening when you aren't there, is still consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. So make your brand experiences consistent. So is your messaging consistent? Are you consistently on time? Everything that we talked about that's included in that brand experience, I want you to think about making that consistent. And then making your brand elements consistent. The strategy, the voice, the tone, the copywriting, messaging, value proposition, logo, tagline, colors, fonts. Obviously, I want them to be professional, beautiful, but I also want them to be consistent. Photography, like, you don't have to take a photo of every single project you do. Just really invest in a high quality photographer to do the projects you absolutely love. Include that in the cost of whatever you're selling, and include photography that you are going to shoot it, in your contracts. Design elements, layouts, hierarchy of elements. And I just want to say one thing too, like, I don't want your brand to overpower and your work. If you look at the websites that we showed you, the examples, I want them to be like a frame on a piece of art where they are showcasing your work. They are not competing with your work. Make your brand assets consistent. So logo, website, social media profiles, Google business reviews, business cards, sales presentations, proposals, invoices. Be consistent and make it gorgeous, right? I want them to have that emotional connection every time they interact with you. Go online, look at your website, your Instagram, get an email. Wow, I am in love with this company. I want to work with them no matter what, right? Where are you currently inconsistent? Write that in chat, and I'll let Ashley dive into these tips for being consistent.
Sure. So it starts, like we were saying earlier, with your sales process, right? Your branding does start there, and anything before your sales process that they see too. But what we want to do here is grow trust through multiple meetings, right? You're showing up, of course, on time, right? How you communicate. Do you have some type of deck or something that you're showing off? Or if it's in person, are you bringing materials to show? Not literally kitchen materials or things like that, but PDFs or printouts, something on your iPad, something to build that trust, right? If it's in person. Of course, always do what you say, right? Make sure you're reliable. Being reliable in this phase of working with them is going to tell them that you're going to be reliable during their kitchen remodel or whatever it is that you're doing, right? You want to make it easy for them to buy from you. So when you are showing them how you work and how to purchase, whether it's a, deposit and some breakdown of the fees beyond there, if it's a retainer, make it really, really clear so that it's a really, really easy yes from them. Because if you've already built that trust and they're ready to go, and then you're offering in order to get started is confusing, they're not going to know what to do next, right? They're going to have hesitation. You want to be consistent in your messaging and positioning, of course. So what sets you apart? Tell people, right? Don't assume that they are going to assume. If you're letting them assume, they're going to assume wrong. So you have to make them aware. Talk about your unique strengths and superpowers. We love using the word superpower. What is it about your business or you or your team or your process or your results or whatever that sets you apart? I promise you there is something, right? There is something. Every single one of our clients, and 98% of them do kitchen remodels. They all have something very different and special about them, right?
Yeah.
Is your process, like I said, are you more hands-on? Is it the quality? Is it your team? What is it? Then we look at your website. It needs to be easy to use. I'm sure we've all been on a website where you go there and you're like, I have no idea where to click or find what I'm looking for. So what did you do? You X'd out of it, right? We do not want that happening. We want it to be super easy to navigate, easy to find the next step, meaning, is that a discovery call? Is it a consultation? Is whatever it is, it needs to be very easy. It needs to be throughout the site so that people don't get confused and hit that little X and go somewhere else, right? Talk about that you have the solution for their problem on the homepage. Most of the time they're going to land on your homepage if they're searching from Google. Not always the case, but you still want that everywhere. But once they land there, you want to say, I do this, or we do this, whatever it is in this area, just like we showed you on the example, right? The tailored luxury living, whatever it was, and then in Las Vegas and beyond. So for her case, she has beyond, but if it just said Las Vegas and you're not in Las Vegas, that would tell you probably not a good fit, right? And that person can move on. You want to position yourself as an expert in your content with the I've done it before, here's the proof, here's testimonials, here's publications I've been featured in, here are, places like NKBA that I'm a member of and I'm on top of things in my industry. People love that. That feels really good in their gut to know that they're getting the latest and greatest and an educated person to work with. Of course, your website design should look awesome like the ones we've showed you. You want a professional photographer, like Deborah said. Hire an interior photographer. Okay, that is very, very important. It's very specific photographer that will take photos a certain way, and they're generally very, very good at handling light. Okay, and then of course list the areas that you serve. I can't tell you how many times I've been on a website. I have no idea where they're located, right? If you do not tell people where you serve, they will assume it's not their area. That's an easy answer for them. Okay.
Yeah. And also, I want to say, like, your website is needs to communicate to your ideal client, like all the value and everything. It also needs to communicate to Google for SEO to get found locally, right? So I want you to think about, like, if you have a website page, let's say your homepage just has a few words, and like I did an audit on somebody recently, and like the words on the homepage banner were an image, like instead of text. Like if you have no copy, no words on that homepage and no keywords, and you're not communicating what you offer, Google cannot read photos, right? It's just reading all the text on the page and the code on the page, right? The back end code to figure out, like, what you are offering. So, so it knows what you're offering, so it can bring up your site when somebody is searching in your area. So having a page that has no content on it is not going to rank. So it's not going to rank for SEO. It's not going to build trust with your ideal client. Having full pages, it's better to have less full pages of content to communicate for SEO to Google and to communicate to your ideal client than it is to have a whole bunch of pages with nothing on it. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to make that clear because I get that all the time. Well, I don't really want content on my site. Well, why bother having a website, right? It's not going to rank. It's not going to get a queue anywhere.
Right. Google does. We'll put it that way, right? And Google's job, remember, is to provide the best result for their customers, which is the searcher. And if they don't feel that you are the best result, they will not rank you. And if Google is providing bad results, people will go elsewhere. There's a reason that Google is still the #1 search engine. It provides the best results.
Yeah, yeah. So that copy, those words, telling that story, communicating the value needs to be visually and in words, both. Okay. Think about it as you're telling a story, or think about how you have a sales conversation, right? Emotions, reason, and the body are all interconnected, with emotions playing a critical role in decision making. This is not just for marketing and sales. This is for everything you do all day long, right? Emotions are driving the decisions that people make. So really think about that and connect, like, in every way you possibly can emotionally with your ideal client. Here's another example. Here was his before. Here is his after, right? Much more professional. Here is his before. The before he had was just like, the brand is screaming at you so much and so busy that you don't even get to see the beauty of his work, right? That's what I mean by an overpowering brand. The colors, the fonts, just so busy compared to this, which is calming. It just really highlights the work and the beauty. Even the fonts, the colors, the messaging, all of that is like communicating that story. And again, like, thank you so much for staying to the end. We will get to the Q&A. Again, I'm Deborah Scarpa. We have Ashley here. We're full service offering, full service marketing to interior designers and other companies in the industry. We're more than happy to give you a free brand website SEO audit. You can sign up homedesignermarketing.com/NKBA, sign the QR. That'll also be sent out with the recording, but we'd love to help you get clarity. All right, thank you so much, and we will get into the Q&A.
Designer marketing team for their wonderful and informative presentation today. We do have a few questions from the audience, so let's dive right in. Deborah and Ashley, looking forward, Karen's wondering, what emerging trends or channels such as personalization, audio branding, do you think presents the next big opportunity for 2026 or challenge for maintaining a cohesive and trustworthy brand experience?
I can jump in there, Deborah, if you'd like. I actually think that's all with AI. So ranking in AI is important right now. It's only going to become more important as people kind of shift over there to doing more of their research. So you can look at it in a way of ranking in AI, such as ChatGPT or whatever, wherever somebody is doing research, you can rank in there the same way you can in Google. So certain things need to be done in order to do that, right? But you want to make sure that it's consistent there too. So it kind of all ties back around. So if somebody is asking for the best kitchen remodeler in whatever city that you're in, that you come up. So what are the things that you need to do in order to actually come up, but how you come up too. So when you do come up, it's not just your website, right? There may be a reference to a blog post, right, that it's pulling information from, or a location landing page, something like that. So you've got to put that content out there, and it has to be written in a certain way in order for AI to go, oh, let me grab that and provide it to whoever's researching, right? So it already is important, but it's quickly becoming even more important for sure.
Yeah, so I just want to add on to it. Like, I kind of think of it as like, when people say like SEO is dead, no, I would say SEO is like ramping up. Like SEO with AI is even gotten more complex, So like the companies who are going to take advantage of like all the new SEO AI strategies are going to significantly outpace the companies that don't.
Yes, yes, because like I said, there's certain things to do to help. The kind of basis of SEO still applies, right? That all still is there. So that's really important to understand. And then there's extra things on top to help you even more. So if you're not even doing this piece is going to be even more difficult, if not impossible. You have to get the SEO piece done first.
Yeah, and SEO is something that is built over time. So the people that start like investing in all the AI kind of SEO, all those strategies, those newer ones that are coming out, are definitely going to be the leaders like a couple years. Like if we look at where everybody's business is going to be in a couple years or even a year, like the people who take advantage of those strategies are going to be ahead. And I can't tell you how many times I do an audit and I bring up um, people's competitors in their area. You can do it yourself. Just do a search of interior design or kitchen remodel or whatever services you do, and then type in the area that you're trying to target, see who is coming up, who is ranking, right? And then take a look at those companies. So often I get, oh, I didn't even know about that company.
Right,
Well, they're getting all the leads. They're definitely getting all the business,
right,
or I get, wow, like I'm like, have a degree, I'm certified, blah, blah, blah. And this other person doesn't have any of that, but they're getting all the business.
mhm,
That happens too, because they're not marketing as aggressively.
right.
All right, wonderful. Thank you both for that answer. Moving on to our next question. Stephanie is wondering, as someone who just started her business, she has professional photos coming in within a month or two, but for the interim, would you recommend stock images or process photos? She's just worried they won't feel high end compared to the professional photos.
We we've had quite a few, like there are some renderers that are like so good that it looks real. I
Mhm.
would recommend that over stock photos.
Yep, I agree. I agree.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, because then you
Like,
can control, especially if you're commissioning that rendering, right? You can control what is in it versus a stock photo. You may be like, that one's okay, but I wouldn't have chosen whatever cabinet color, right? A rendering would be a great one. And then you can use that, in your slide deck even in the future and say, here's a part of our process, right? So make use of it more than just an interim on your website, because I also realize those are not cheap if they're done well, right? Make use of the investment. Put it on
yeah,
social
yeah.
media too.
You don't need to have that many when
Correct.
you're starting your business, but you need to have some. So if you're wanting to get those dream clients and you're just starting out and you don't even have those projects, like could you create yourself a rendering or could you hire somebody for some photos? I would never put stock photos in a portfolio because I feel like it's really misrepresenting you.
All right, wonderful. Thank you both. Cheryl is wondering for specifically for SEO searching, should service page list all their services or just be a little bit more general?
It's a good
Um,
question.
yeah, go ahead, Ashley.
Yeah. So the best situation is to have one service per page. Okay. The reason is in how Google ranks. So think of it this way: Google does not rank websites, it ranks pages. So the more specific you can be in a keyword or batch of keywords, I'll say on a page. So kitchen remodeling in wherever, right? Google is going to go, okay, this page is obviously about kitchen remodeling. And I'm very clear that in this city, this page should come up, of course, if it's good content and all of those good things. And this one is about bathroom remodeling and so on. But if you're having a page that says kitchen, bathroom, this, that, right? Google's going to go, okay, I see they do remodeling. I might not be as convinced that they're as much of an expert to rank this page because maybe there's just little blurbs. Whereas on a kitchen remodeling full page, I would expect that you'd have much more content throughout that Google can go, yeah, they're an expert, right? So that's the difference. But something to think about, because if you're trying to build a new website, you can build out those pages over time. If you're saying, "Oi, that's real big. I've got, 5 service pages that I need. That's a lot of time and work." You can start with that single one. That's okay. Don't be afraid to do that. And also, it is a bit of an SEO strategy to add those pages over time, because Google sees a moving, active website, right? So kind of similar in the vein of if you're doing a blog post, right? A blog post or two a month, and Google's seeing your website moving and flowing. It's the same thing as adding a new website page, essentially, because a blog post is also a new page, right? Just going after a different keyword phrase is all.
All right, thank you for that. Moving on to the next question. So a little bit earlier in the presentation, it was mentioned that weak brands can lose revenue, attract wrong fit clients, and can also be forgotten fast. When brands lack consistent brand identity and trust from clients, what are some of the other missed opportunities you've seen firsthand?
It's a good question. Deborah, were you about to say something?
Yeah. Go ahead. I would say, I mean, that really nails it. Like the list that we have, I would say are the biggest ones. Can you
Yeah, I
think of
think
anything else?
too, it could, give people a gut feeling during the sales process that they're not that confident in the solution that they're about to sign up for. So if somebody is getting leads, but the leads aren't confident, they may have a very low close rate because of that. So I could see that happening as well.
Yeah, and we want to think of too about like, you know, when somebody's working with you, do they trust you as an authority and, or are they questioning everything that you do, right? So, um, I think that's also, part of it.
All right, great. Well, Deborah and Ashley, before we end today, do you have any final thoughts for our audience?
I think I saw a ton of great stuff in chat. People identifying where they felt inconsistent or whatever it may be with their brand. So I think, work on that stuff. Do a little brain dump after this if you have a few minutes. I know we're ending a little bit early, so pull out a piece of paper and start, writing down things that you can do, big and small. If it's something small you can do. I saw one about inconsistency between like website and social, I think. So what change can you make in the next couple of days to fix that? Right? What are the things you can start kind of chipping away at to get that consistent brand?
Yeah, and just think about your marketing as something you should always be working on. So don't feel like overwhelmed. Like for most of our clients that when they come start working with us, typically I would say it's a 5-page website, right? Sometimes it's even smaller than that. Sometimes we'll do a 4-page website. But think about like probably, you know, the decision I like not making a decision and not moving forward is probably going to hurt you more than like, I just want you to like move forward and think like, don't get overwhelmed. Just work on one thing at a time. And over time, like I was meeting with somebody doing an audit recently, and she was getting overwhelmed with how much um, she was doing. And, I showed her one of our clients, and, one that client came to us maybe 5 years ago, like she hardly had anything, right? And now she is like has so many things set up. So it takes time. But you do need to be doing it right. And like it's better to do less, but better and consistent.
Yes, nailed it.
Yeah, like some people are like, how many social media posts should I be doing a month? Like, I don't agree with that. Like, it could be like no content with just a photo, no story, right? And a lot of them versus fewer that are more meaningful, that build more authority, build more trust. That's what I want to see.
Right.
We want to thank Deborah and Ashley for sharing their expertise with us today. Mila for generously sponsoring this month's webinar series. And of course, thank you to everyone for attending today's session. Until next time, I hope everyone has a wonderful day.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.